Welcome back. Billboard is ranking the greatest pop stars of the 21st century. The music magazine is building a list of artists who have defined pop stardom for the last 25 years, including names like Britney Spears, Drake, and Taylor Swift. And the domestic box office is set for its biggest Thanksgiving feast since COVID, with Moana 2 expected to bring in at least $120 million in its opening weekend. Joining us now is TV personality and host of the Baker Show podcast, Baker Machado. Thanks so much for being here, Baker. So let's talk about that box office. Moana 2 hit theaters just yesterday, while Wicked and Gladiator 2 will both be in their second weekend. So how are things looking?
I mean, Steven, as you mentioned, the box office this weekend looking to be one of the best Thanksgivings we've ever had. Even before COVID, Wicked, Moana 2, and Gladiator 2 likely to combine to bring in possibly even $300 million through this weekend. That is a number, Steven, we haven't seen since 2018 when Ralph Breaks the Internet, Creed 2, and Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald brought in collectively $315 million. But all expectations here this weekend could break that. And as you mentioned, Moana 2, that itself is going to be sort of the driver here. Moana 2 brought in $57 million alone on Wednesday, and it's tracking for close to $200 million for its opening weekend. That would pass Frozen 2 as the best opener for a Thanksgiving film ever. And that makes a lot of sense, Stephen, because that was the most streamed movie on Disney Plus back in 2023, and it's likely going to do better than Wicked did, which brought in $112 million domestically last week. We should note Wicked still going to do well, likely going to get $100 million this week as well, Stephen.
No doubt about that. And I know some little girls, my nieces, who are streaming Moana over and over again, so they get some credit for this. Also wanted to talk about this, the Billboard list ranking Taylor Swift as the second greatest pop star for the 21st century. And there's a lot of speculation about which artist will get that #1 spot. So if you would break down this list for us.
Yeah, Taylor Swift feeling #2 right now, Stephen. As you mentioned, Billboard releasing their list of the greatest pop stars of the 21st century. And surprisingly, Taylor Swift #2 on the list. Now, Billboard, as you see on that list, has not released who #1 is yet. I'll get to that in a second. But as you mentioned, Rihanna, Drake, Lady Gaga, Britney Spears, Justin Bieber also making the list. Now, this honor for Taylor Swift comes near the end of a massive year for her. Back in February, she made history by becoming the first person to win the Grammy for Album of the Year 4 times. She was Time Magazine's Person of the Year for 2023. And Forbes says she's the richest female musician with a $1.6 billion net worth. Now, you're probably asking, why isn't she #1? Well, Billboard is saying because she started her career in country music and she didn't come into the pop years until later in her career. So who's #1? Well, there's rampant speculation. It's Beyonce, which has led a lot of Swifties to protest online about this. Billboard is going to release that list about who is #1 coming up here pretty soon. But that is a tough decision to make, Beyonce versus Taylor Swift. I mean, I don't even know who I'd pick here.
Wow. Okay, really quickly here, Baker, wanted to ask you about some TV. Bravo's hit show Vanderpump Rules getting an all-new cast. Do we know how the original cast is responding?
I mean, they're pretty sad here, Stephen. Lisa Vanderpump announcing the news that the season 12 is going to have a brand new cast of servers over at SUR. Lisa Vanderpump saying, what a wild ride it's been. But don't be sad. A lot of those Vanderpump Rules people are going to be on a spin-off show called The Valley.
Okay, all right. Some hope for those fans. Baker Machado, thanks so much for breaking down all that entertainment for us. You're watching NBC News Daily.